How y'all doing? Everybody good? This is like a cool little family gathering. I love it. I want to say thank you to my host, to Shaw. We've only been working together for, I don't know, I got to know him about 2 months ago. And you've treated me like family, and I appreciate that. I really do. They've put so much time and effort and energy, and especially intentionality is the word that I continue to get from knowing these people, into, I believe, everything they do, but into this right here. I mean, the amount of time and legwork, but also helping me understand kind of who you are and what they do. It says so much about this organization. I want to get kind of a feel. We have, I'm understanding, well, first of all, I got to thank them individually. Katie, where's Katie at? Thank you. You've taken such good care of me, and I appreciate you. Katie is doing awesome. Allison Wolf, Allie Mayer, Michael Gutierrez, Christine Bowling, Sarah Hudson, Thomas J. Thank you so much. Thank you for, brother, thank you for the referral. You never really know, because I spoke at this men's thing at North Star that night, and I get to do what I do in a lot of different places, a lot of different audiences. And sometimes you kind of get off stage and you're like, I don't know, I didn't really hit that one. You know, you kind of feel it. It's like, it was all right, I guess, whatever. And then something beautiful comes from it. So I really appreciate that. But give me an idea of kind of who we have here. We have interior designers. People kind of design the space. Cool. Thank you for what you do. What about installers, warehouse? People, there we go. Thank you, man. Educators. Well, we're going to talk about educators. We don't have any here tonight, but we've all been educated by wonderful educators. But that's a huge part of what I do. And then, but also admin, end users, managers, support staff. Really, what Katie and the team wanted me to do when I was like, what exactly are you trying to get these wonderful people that are going to be with us? What do you want them to leave with? I always want to know, what do you want them to feel? What do you want them to think? And they kept going back to the same thing, is remind them about what their why is. And from that, I get purpose. And no matter what part of the ecosystem you fall into in this great teamwork, sometimes you might feel like your role is maybe not as important as another one, or not as appreciated, doesn't have as much spotlight, ain't quite as sexy, whatever it is. And the truth is, none of it works if everybody doesn't do their part. And it was such a natural fit because of what we do to be able to partner with Shaw. And I hope this is an ongoing partnership that lasts, because I really, really believe in what you're doing. I've been blown away, because just being a civilian, not really understanding kind of the world you guys live in, I didn't realize there was this growing movement of intentionality when it comes to our educational spaces. I've been going in and out of schools for decades, and I see it. I experience it. I've been lucky enough with the work that I do that I've gotten to look behind the curtain in all the institutions that run our communities. Do a lot of work with law enforcement. I've seen behind the curtain. Done a lot of work with corporate clients, with churches, a lot of stuff with churches all over the place. I've also done a lot of work in the correctional field. I've been in over 100 prisons and detention centers and juvenile correctional facilities across the country and around the world, 5 continents. Those 100 prisons, they taught me so much. But the more that I would go into prisons and I would work with those that really society has left behind, don't want to see anymore, it's a booming business. We're building, this is hard to get my head wrapped around, we're building almost as many prisons as we are schools. I mean, get your head wrapped around that. And the fact that we have this growing movement around intentionality in the way we design our educational spaces, it gives me hope. And so in a very, very real way, I want to say thank you for what you do, because the kids that are coming through these places, they so need what it is that you are designing and implementing and putting into these places. I mean, this kids, I was in a Chamber of Commerce event not too long ago. And you can imagine that's educators and law enforcement and politicians and the faith-based community, corporate, whatever. It's kind of the who's who leadership of a community. This happened to be Cobb County. And for whatever reason, I was talking about Gen Z. I guess that's why I was there, talk about the next generation, whatever. And I said, all right, and everybody knows Gen Z, right? When I'm referring to Gen Z? Okay. Curious as to kind of what energy springs up when I say Gen Z. Because we get some different feelings about that particular word. So I was testing the audience out, and I'm like, all right, throw out a word that comes to mind when I say Gen Z. And what do you think some of the things came out with? Technology. That's positive. What else? Screen time. Nice way of saying it. What else? You guys are too nice. This was a group of people that were being real. You guys are like, we just got here. We're trying to mind our own business things. We don't want to make a bad impression or whatever. They're having us. We have nice little wine and whatnot. So, no, they didn't hold back. They're like, entitled. And then it was like, oh, we're being honest. And there's like, cupcakes, spoiled, irresponsible. Then it became like a thing. And they're like, lazy. And it's just like, it was getting so discouraging. I'm like, time out, man. What in the world? How do you think they feel about y'all? Because it was just like, I was getting depressed. I work with kids all the time. And do I see all those things? Well, I'm not stupid. Okay, I see it. And for some reason, I feel like we're connected, man, aren't we? What line, what part of the field are you in this whole thing?
Finance.
Are you in finance?
Yeah.
Okay, you seem like one of those awesome educators, just like boots on the ground. I see you. I knew it. We got to talk. But anyway, it was like, they get such a bad rap, these kids, man. And it's not their fault. I tell them all the time, it's not your fault, but it is your problem. You see that? They didn't cause it. Like, they didn't create these things. We gave them to them. And a lot of times when they're 10 years old, bro, it's like they're growing up with these things. And we're like, can't you see? The brother said, screen time. And it's like, well, that's kind of like me asking a fish, what's water like? And the fish is like, I mean, what do you mean? I mean, what's water? I don't even know what the concept of water. That's kids in this world of technology, man, which is bringing so many things. But so I poll parents, and I poll teachers, and I poll cops, and I poll preachers, and just learning everything I can about Gen Z, but I also polled them. And so I asked them, no grown folks in the room, I'll say, what do y'all feel about my generation? And what do you think they say? Like, take a guess. What do you think the rap is on us? What? Opinionated. What else? Old, slow, and you can't say the third one. All right, what else? Anybody else?
I would say that he works too hard.
Work too hard?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all are so safe. You know what the kids say? Now, it's gonna hurt a little bit. All right, I'm gonna tell you, but it's gonna hurt a little bit. All right, so what do we say about them? Lazy, spoiled, entitled, da 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 da. And I said, what about the grown folks? And they said, haters and hypocrites. What? You see that a little bit? Haters. This generation, easy to hate on, bro. You know what I'm saying? But what about the second one? Hypocrites. It's like they are watching us, and we're banging away at them about their technology while we're on, put your phone down. You know what I'm saying? And so by now, well, I also want to say this, man. If Shaw did nothing else but bring me in and say, hey, we'd like to give you a feel for who we are, and introduce me to those amazing interns right there, I would say Shaw is tip top. I mean, kind of give it up for those interns right there. Let's see, we got, now, all right, I'm gonna put myself on the spot. So we got Ole Miss, Baylor, Texas A&M. No, that's Ole Miss, Oxford. Did I get it? And then the brother from KSU right there. Did I get them all right? Ha, I was paying attention. That's good. I have no idea where I was going. Oh, no, very, very impressed. You guys are awesome. We're living in a world, I guess we sat in that beautiful room right there and I got to meet with the team and we just talked about what y'all do. And I was taking notes, man, just trying to figure it out. And so much of it was people need encouragement. They need inspiration. They need motivation. And why is that? What is it about this world we're living on where we really need people to come in and help us to believe and help us to keep going? It's because this world will beat the dreams out of you. I mean, we're all going through a lot. Let's just admit it. I mean, I don't care. Pick your poison. Politics, religion, race, gender, evening news. Be careful with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we become what we consume, right? I went through a time a while back where I was blue all the time. And I didn't realize, it's like we've got billions of bits of information that are blasting away at us, and our brain is consuming every bit of it. And the news today, what sells? Stuff that makes you feel really good or stuff that scares you to death? It does. I mean, if it bleeds, it leads. And I was watching, it was like, I think that the news was on in the morning, first thing, just blah, blah, blah. And for some reason, I was listening to talk radio at the time. This is a while back. And it was just like blah, blah, blah. And at night, my mom, that was a Freudian slip. My wife, she like on this whole law and order thing. And so I'm like, it's just like blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, man, why am I so down? And I'm like, dang, I got bad news in the morning, drama throughout the day, capped off a little rape and murder at night, and wondering why I'm not feeling good. And it's like, in today's world, you got to be intentional about what you consume. Because if it's just like, what are you going to do today? Whatever. How's, what you want to do? I don't care, call it. It's just like, how's today going to be? I don't know, I'll let you know when I get done with it. If there's no intention, and that's what the words that came to mind with Katie and her team was purpose, passion, imagination, and intention is the world that we're living in. But people are beat up these days, and when it becomes just a job, where it's just a paycheck, and there's not a purpose behind it, man, it's hard. It's just hard. I'm lucky in that it's hard to have too many bad days in a row because most days I'm doing this right here. I get to be in front of people. This is my buddy Tony, who's my manager and also works for everybody. Say hey to Tony. Tony's the coolest dude. He's the coolest dude in the room. And you see our hat, right? Got a little swag going on there. POP is our company. It's called the Power of Peace Project, but the kids call us POP. And but anyway, we were with standout football players this morning at McEachern. We were with Osborne football yesterday. We're going to be at the Marietta Regional Youth Detention Center tomorrow. We get to be in front of kids all the time. And so we get to see it hands-on. Tony's always the cool one in the room, and then they listen to me a little bit. But now, even as I was talking, I love getting to know people, and I was talking to Kevin, new friend. And mad respect on the young man you raised, man. He's impressive. But I was talking to Kevin, and he told me a story, and he was talking about the space of it was a school, I guess, right? And it was like almost a teacher's conference, kind of trying to help a kid that maybe is getting a lot of, it was a brand new story, so forgive me if I butcher it. But anyway, I just heard it imagine a little kid with bright eyes and a mind that's just taking everything all in, and he went into the room and he looked around, looked at the floors and looked at the walls and looked at the ceiling and says, man, this looks just like my mom's place. And what do you think he was referring to? The institution where his mother resides. And that's what the school, it got his attention, basically, without him knowing how to say it. Man, this is just like a prison. And I've gone in over 100 schools, literally across the country, around the world, just, school after school after school. And we are at a time and place where our facilities, our learning institutions are becoming like our other institutions. And it's not just the same old colors and the polished floors and the same color on the walls and the ceilings that are meant to be some sort of color that suits. It's that there's no purpose behind it. And what I see in this group is a purposeful group of individuals that if nobody has told you recently, I'm saying thank you for what you're doing, because we're on the front lines. And this young generation, man, their challenges are a little different. For you and me, it's the grind. It's the same thing, day in, day out. It's a tough day. There's not enough time. There's deadlines. There's quotas. We're being driven. I got to get up and do it again. Please, weekend come. Oh, it's Monday morning, back into the fray. And it's easy to forget about what it is that we're accomplishing together. And I've been hearing the stories about, directional little, a kid be able to follow purple to the right part of the room. And I'm like, I never see that. And an intentional space, a sensory room, is that what you called it, Katie? That was built to help kids with special disabilities, which is just beautiful, I think, in Washington. Is that what you told me? Yeah, where it has built into the framework of it, hopscotch, I don't know. I didn't experience any of that growing up. And it's cool that they do. Is anybody here wondering why in the world I'm carrying a stick? Go ahead. This is, if next time you see me, if I get to see you again, if I'm preaching at a church, or hopefully you won't see me in the work I'm doing in prisons. I don't want to see you there. Hey, bro. Don't do that. You're going to see me and my partner, Roots. That's what his name is, Roots. Roots is like, afterwards, somebody, if they want to get a picture, they're going to want a picture with Roots, not with me. Roots is my partner. He's with me. And when I'm on a stage, he's with me. We've been around the world together. And it's not just that it's a cool instrument. If I asked you, what is this? You would say that is say walking stick, cane, prop. Come on, bro. That's disrespectful to Roots. More than a prop. You might say a rod, a staff. Moses had one, Gandhi had one. It was kind of cool. But you know what? I've asked that question literally around the world. Thousands of people. I said, what is it? And I get all those same things. You know what nobody's ever once said? A branch. Fundamentally, is that not a branch? It is. And I even know what tree, kind of the vicinity of the tree it came from. But see, it's the story of the branch that makes Roots so special. And I'll tell you the story. There was a time when Roots was at the top of a 100-year-old oak tree, downtown Atlanta. Anybody ever heard of Pittsburgh, Mechanicsville, Lakewood? Anybody know that area? Carver High Schools. I think Atlanta Public Schools is a big part of y'all's footprint, right? And so it was down there. And imagine the life of this fallen branch. Top of the tree, cool breeze, sunshine, nice nourishing rain, little birds perched out on Roots. And then something came along and knocked Roots out of his purpose. Don't know if it was a storm, a heavy wind, a lightning strike, or an axe at the bottom of the tree, but something knocked this branch outside of its life, disconnected from the source, and it laid on the street. And in the amount of time it took to fall 100 feet from the sky to the street, the moment it hit the street, it became trash. Because that's what we do with broken branches. Scoop them up, take them away, burn them. This branch has been kicked aside and driven over and laying there just destined to be burned until somebody saw it for what it could be. We were working in that area and we were doing gang prevention and gang intervention with these beautiful kids that they didn't ask to be born where they were at. And it's like, I can judge them all I want, but I know me, when I was a kid, I fell for everything. I was the guy that was like, if they said, I bet you won't do that, I'd be like, hold my beer. And I was the guy that would go and do it. So I know I just didn't grow up in a dangerous part of town, but I broke all the rules. I mean, I was very impressionable. I was a leader, but I was a follower. And so I can't judge these kids. If I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody wore red, why would I not wear red? I mean, it's all we know, right? And so these kids are coming up and they're on the streets and we're trying to help them. And there was this little dude and his name was Roots. He was a smaller brother than me, younger brother than me, cooler brother than me, brother of more color than me, had cool dreads, little beard, rock star glasses, missing a stem. And they called him Roots. Roots had this Jamaican accent, which is cool to death. And he would always hang out and he just wanted to help. He'd like, brother kid, how can I serve? And I'd be like, come help us out. And see, Roots lived on the streets. You wouldn't have known it if you looked at him. You wouldn't have been like, that brother's under a bridge. He's just a brother that had a substance abuse problem, which is very close to my heart. I'm in long-term recovery as well. And so my heart went out to Roots. He became my friend. And so I couldn't wait to see him. And he would come and he became like kind of part of the family. We'd give him a little something and he would work. And he always had these cool sticks. And he would come up to me and he'd be like, Brother Kit, you need a stick. And I'd be like, why do I need a stick? And he said, if you're going to work these streets, you need protection. And I said, how do I get one? And he said, I got you. That's what I do. And so he went away. About a week later, he brought me this. And it became very, very special to me because of the man who gave it. And it was the purpose behind him giving it to me. He cared about my protection. He served me. He became my friend. He's my guy. And so it became very special to me. Well, seasons changed, and all of a sudden lost track of Roots, and I heard he had gone out to another part of town. And then I just couldn't find him. And I went on my travels. And me and Roots went across the country into prisons all across the land. And the prisoners loved him. They let me, I put a rubber tip on it so that they can't tell me I can't bring it in. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, they can't tell you can't use a cane, right? So I'm like, they let me into prisons with a great big stick, which is kind of good. But I mean, guys would yell across the yard, it's like, Roots. I mean, he became like a somebody to them. And I took him, man, we went to India together and Africa together and Central America and just all around the world. It was me and Roots. And I was always like, where's he at? He has no idea the impact he's making. Because I'd hold him up in front of kids and I say, what's his name? And they yell, Roots. And I say, what's he mean? And they yell, potential. Now, why does he represent potential? Because he was nothing but a broken branch until one beautiful brother that happened to be homeless saw it for what it could be rather than where it was in its present condition. Tell me that's not what we do. You look at something that has not become yet. It's nothing but a space. I love talking to you about how you get to be a part of that team. And, oh, forgive me, what's your name? Sarah. And I was like, man, do you get to be like at the top of it and talking about the actual design and the purposeful, you know, just creation process? And I'm amazed. I'm all in. I think it's so cool because I get to experience it. But in a real way, not just are the kids not these broken branches? They're the ones who have fallen. They're the ones that we kick aside a lot of times. And I say we, not you, but society has given up on these kids. It's like they don't have a shot. There is no potential, but that's not true. There's power in potential. Potential is the song that hasn't been written yet. It's the book that's not been published. It's the poem that has not been penned. It's the you that you have not gotten to know yet. Now, is potential positive or negative? Positive? Can it be negative? Think about it. I can take a hammer and I can build a house with it, or I could hit somebody in the head with it. It can be positive or negative. Potential is neither. Potential is just what hasn't happened yet but could be, right? And so in the same way, my brother Roots, who was killed by a drunk driver on his little scooter one day, I lost him in 2020. And this became even more important to me. It's a symbol of what we could be. And that's what you guys do. We get to do that together. Protect the Dream is a program that we created after I'd been in hundreds of schools and prisons and anywhere that would have me over the last 15 years. I started trying to figure out, man, first it was to block the school to prison pipeline. I told you, we're building almost as many prisons as we are schools. And the prison population is getting younger and younger and younger. And for the first time in our history, the average age of the prisoner is getting young, down into the 20s. And we've got a young generation just lining up to go behind the wire. And I'm like, how are we going to reach these kids? Because they're not listening to us. Anybody old enough to remember Charlie Brown? Wah, 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 wah. Remember the teacher? That's all, just wah, wah, wah. It's like they're not listening to us. And yet they're filled with danger, just around them. Think about the things that they deal with that you and I didn't have to. And there's a lot of you guys that are very, very young, so I'm not talking to you. And I'm not going to look at you if you're one of the older ones because I don't want to offend you. But I'm probably the oldest one in the room, I bet. But can you imagine? I mean, it's like, have you ever been looking at your phone and comparing your insides to everybody else's outsides? It seems like everybody's always got a cocktail on the beach and they're posting about their kids at, Princeton or Yale or somewhere, and you're looking at your life like, what the heck am I doing? Can you imagine being this young generation and the pressure that they have to fit in? And so I'm just seeing these kids that are kind of trapped on their phones in this virtual world, and it's causing unparalleled anxiety and depression. And I was like, how are we going to reach these kids? And I thought, when I was 25, I read a book called Protect the Dream. No, I didn't. That's not it at all. Let the Trumpet Sound. And it was one of the biographies of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he captured my imagination, and I became a huge fan and follower of Dr. King. Ever since I was 25, I've been following that great man. And a lot of the things I teach and practice, I got from him. And I just love everything about the man. And so that word, what's he known for? Go ahead and say what he's known. Dr. King said, I have a dream. I ask middle school kids, you ever heard Dr. King? Uh-huh. I say, what's he known for? I have a dream. I mean, a 13-year-old, bro. And yet they know. Why? Because it's so powerful. That word, he electrified that word. On August the 27th, 1963, if somebody said, you got a dream? I say, nah, I don't really remember my dreams when I sleep. But on August 28th, that word was changed forever. It's just this big word. I have a dream. Anybody remember what his dream was in that speech? I have a dream that my little sons and daughters will grow up in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I have a dream today. You know how long that speech was? Anybody know? Doesn't it seem like it was about an hour? I mean, just beautiful, and it rose, and it rose, and it rose, and then boom, at the end, he just had to stop. 300,000 people on the mall there in Washington hanging on every word. Right place, right time, right man, right message. The country needed it. Boom, he said it and set it off. And that word changed. I have a dream. And I thought, what's the missing component with this young generation is they lack dreams. I don't know if we've thought about teaching them how to dream. I mean, it's kind of a dreamless generation. My question would be, do you have one? I tell you, we're living in a world that'll beat the dreams out of you if you're not careful. It can just get so discouraging and hopeless, and is it going to be better? And then I look into the eyes of these kids, and I'm reminded that beauty and brilliance resides inside of every one of them. I started doing some work at a place called Eastman Correctional, which is, by and large, well, everybody would say it's the toughest juvenile facility in the state of Georgia. About 50, 60 boys live there, reside there. And you talk about institutional, this is a prison that was converted into a juvenile facility. Razor wire, stone, everything screwed down. And these beautiful kids that live in there that come from very, very tough areas, and some have done some very, very tough things, and it's all they know, a lot of these kids. And I contracted with the Department of Juvenile Justice. I got to know the commissioner. We served on the same House of Representatives study committee on youth gangs and violence prevention. And we got to be very cool. And I gave him one of my books, and he read it, and we kind of put a little deal together, and I started working with the DJJ. And Eastman was where they sent me. They put me the end of the road first. They put me in the toughest spot. And so I had no idea what I was walking into, but it became my field of dreams. I fell in love with these kids. And I would see them, man, they'd show up, and they'd get sent to these holes, and man, they would get beat up and their tough stuff taken from them, and they go around and around again, and they try to figure out how to fit in, keep it going. And I'd watch these kids, and we sit around in a circle, and we start talking about dreams. I have a dream. And we started talking about what is that? And the kids looked at me like I was speaking another language. It's like, we mean a dream. it is what it is. I mean, it's just like they've never been out of their neighborhood. You become what you see. You can't imagine something you've never seen before. Man, why don't you get a job? Not only has he never had one, he's never seen anybody keep one. Man, why don't you go to school? Like, who does that? I don't know anybody that's ever gone to college. We're asking them to do something they've never done before. So I got down their level and I started talking about real things and about dreams and what could you be? And these boys, they started to come alive. And one day, kid got off the bus. He was new, and he came into my group. The dorm he was staying in, everybody kind of rounded up, started going. He's like, "Where's everybody going?" And he said, "Mr. Kid's class." And so he just followed the leader and went down there. Now, I'd noticed when this young man came into my group that day, he ain't gotten beat up. And nobody took his stuff, and it seemed like everybody kind of knew who he was. He was like somebody, right? And I paid attention to him, and I'm like, all right, let's see that kid. And so first week, he just kind of glared at me. He's got this mean mug. I guess you got to have one, right? And he's got one. And so, but I know how to look at somebody too. And so I'd look back at him. We'd just kind of be like, I see you, bro. And so that was our little relationship to start with, is I see you, you see me. And then next week it was like, what's up, man? And then I go over and I kind of dap him up, and he dapped me up a little bit just because the old dude's coming over there. And then the next week I'd pull him in a little closer, and he dapped me up a little bit more. And then the next week I pull him in to kind of do the little gangster hug. I pull him in and I'd say, "You're a good man." And then I'd go my way. And then the next week I come up and I pull him in a little closer. I say, "You're a good man." And we kind of developed this thing. And then I realized he was smart. And so when I was digging down deep into an issue, I'd look over at him and I'd say, "What do you think, bro?" And he would have something to say. And I thought, man, he was 18 years old. And he'd been in and out. As a 12-year-old, he had to go out and he had to try to help support his family. And there's a lot of things you might end up doing when you're trying to support a family and a very young mother. And so my heart went out to him, but we started to become friends. And then it got to be where he'd come seek me out, and we're giving like real hugs and whatnot. And so we got to be very cool. And one day we're standing out as a pre-day like it is today, and we're underneath the sun, and we're right by the razor wire. We're just sitting there kind of just chilling. And I looked over and I said, "Man, what do you want to do?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're getting ready to go home, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you want to do?" And he looked at me, and no kid has ever answered this question this way. He said, "I want to be you." And I was like, "You want to be me?" Like the old white dude, you want to be me. And he's like, "I want to do what you do." And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "A motivational speaker." And I said, "I am not a motivational speaker." Don't ever call me that, by the way. It's kind of like a thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm motivational speaker. You get it. Anybody thinks they can do it, right? Go on the Holiday Inn, 8 people. "I'm going to tell you what you need to do to be happy." So I was like, "Don't call me that, bro." And so he's like, "No." He said, "But I want to do what you do. You help people. Nobody's ever done this. I've never seen it like that before." And I said, "You ever been a hero?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You ever been a hero? You got it like that?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "You're going to have to find that part of yourself if you want to do what you just said." I get a lot of kids tell me they're going to hit me up when they get out, and rarely do they. And I said, "What about you, man?" He said, "I'm going to do it." And I said, "All right, we'll find out if you're a man of your word." Sure enough, he got out, he hit me up, and he started following me around. And I started doing what he had asked me to do. And I took him, and he got up in front of the board of the Department of Juvenile Justice, the commissioner, everybody, and told his story. I put him in front of a church, and he got up there and told his story, and people listened. I took him to McCarver High School in front of the football team, hard young men, and people listened. You know, I put him up at my events, and he stood, and he just, in front of a huge audience, he talked, and people listened. And I sat there, and I watched as that dream, when we sat in that prison yard, and he said, "Man, I want to do what you do." We imagined it. It's the power of imagination. Dr. Einstein said, it's the most powerful gift we possess. Imagination is more important than knowledge. It's being able to see a thing before it ever comes to be. And we stood there in a prison with his background and said, "Man, what do you want to do?" And he saw something that was so big, that was so powerful. For a brother that has not ever seen it, for him to have that idea, it was a freaking huge idea. And I was like, yes, and I needed that. I needed to see a kid come out of that place, not just any kid. I needed a kid that had some juice, somebody that had been there, done that, had respect and everything that comes with it. I wanted to see a kid like that change. And to be quite honest, I didn't know if it was possible. But I believed in potential, and I'd seen too much. He showed me too much for me not to believe anymore. I believe in the broken branch that can rise up and go on a world tour. I believe in that. And I've seen it. I get emotional. It's this man right here. Stand up, bro. That's my guy right there. 3 years, man. He calls me Pops now. I'm like, dang it. I thought I was like, bro. He said, Pops, you're like a dad to me, man. And I'm like, all right, you can call me Pops. Now it's kind of like I'm proud of it. I call him son. He's my family. But bro, you changed my life. That's what you're doing. I want you to feel that, is that what you do makes a difference. And I don't care if you're the one that's having to get everybody paid. Gotta have that. If you're the one that's up there in the tower, man, making the designs 30,000 feet, gotta have that. If it's that factory worker, he or she is in there putting in that work, gotta have it. I mean, everybody from the finance to the management to the warehouse crew to designers. I mean, I can't wait. You ever heard of the reticular activating system? You're like, that's a strange transition. The RAS, it's this fascinating part of the brain that allows you to notice things, okay? And so it's like, I guess the easiest example is if you're in the market for a new car and you go and test drive it and you make a buying decision, a purchasing decision, I'm gonna buy that make, that model, that color. What do you start seeing all over town? You start seeing that automobile. Have you ever experienced that? And you're like, dang, do I have this attractive power? And I'm pulling all these cars. No, it's that the brain has not, if it's not relevant to you, the brain is not gonna bother you with it. But when something becomes important to you and gets your attention and you become somewhat emotionally connected to it, the brain goes to work and starts finding everything that goes along with that. So all of a sudden you start noticing the black Cadillac Escalade where you haven't been paying attention before. Man, now when I'm walking into schools, I'm starting to notice things. I'm like, I don't know if I'd have chosen this flooring. Like, this is not intentional whatsoever. Who designed this place? And I'm like, feel like I'm one of y'all, man. It's like, I want you to know you've impacted me. It's not just, I work for a floor design company or whatever you would call this wonderful place. It's like, you're making a difference. And those of us that are doing what we're doing, we can't do it without what you're doing. It's a challenging world. So I started telling you a little bit about Protect the Dream. I said, dreams have the power to pull us through things. Dreams are powerful and they're attractive. And you think about it, the big thing in physics, quantum mechanics, cosmology, the big thing always pulls the small thing. So it's like, you know, the sun pulls the earth pulls the moon pulls the tides pull the river pulls the stream all the way up to the creek to the little pond, and then it goes around and around, does it again. The small thing never pulls the big thing. Gravity, inertia, it's the way things work. So I figured, all right, so the game must be the bigger the dream I have, the stronger the attractive pull to it. Does that make sense? You show me a kid that's got a dream, and I don't care, you give me one. Just give me a dream. What do you want to do, bro? I don't know. Now, give me something. Like if you could wave your magic wand, what would it be? I don't know. I want to go to college. Cool. Let's put some meat on the bones. Where do you want to go to college? I don't know. Well, let's look into it. What do you want to study when you get there? Let's drill down. Let's just build a dream. You can change it tomorrow. Just give me something bigger than yourself that has the attractive quality to pull you through things, distractions, temptations, failure, obstacles, haters, things that are going to try to keep you from your dream. The bigger the dream, the stronger the pull. And that's what I found in my own life. See, I'm practicing, basically failure brought me to where I am today. Well, I sat in that chair over there, and Katie asked me a couple questions. They set up the cameras and did a little interview. She's like, what got you into what you're doing? And I'm like, failure. I failed miserably, and it turned out to be the most important moment of my life. See, I was the wildest guy to ever become a preacher. Like, nobody saw that coming. I mean, growing up, nobody said, that young man's cut out for ministry. It was like I was the other guy. I mean, I was just wild. I come by it honest. I was a good athlete, so it kept me out of too much trouble, and I didn't grow up in a dangerous part of town. That's all I had going for me. But otherwise, I was about it. And then at 25, I met somebody, and he changed my life. And he introduced me to some things and to someone that I had never known. I mean, I wasn't that kid. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up reading the book. I didn't hang out with Christians. I wasn't that guy. And now all of a sudden, boom, I just ran straight into the love of God. And I thought, so I did that like I do everything. I don't have any other gear. I'm like all in. I'm either trying to save the world or tear some stuff up. There's one or the other. I got nothing in between. And so when I fell in love with God, I'm like, I got to become a preacher. My family thought I lost my mind. My friends had nothing else to do with me, and everybody talked about me like he's joined a cult. And it's like, no, I fell in love with God. And I got on a stage, and I found out that there was a gift that was hiding inside of me, potential. I had never experienced the gift before. I didn't even know it was in there. I wonder if there's anybody in the sound of my voice that has a gift inside of you that you still haven't discovered yet. And isn't that the meaning of life? To figure out what your unique gift is, and for the young ones, the purpose in life is to give that gift to the world, whether it's with Shaw or whatever it is you do. And there's no expiration date on dreams. I mean, if I'm the oldest dude in the room, whoever else is about my age, man, dreams are alive and they're electric and they're in the present, man. It's never, ever too late. But I always think it's so sad when somebody is sitting on a gold mine. Imagine a golden ball of light that came into you, into the world, 8 pounds wrapped in flesh, this golden ball of light, let's call it a soul. Take all the religious baggage off of that word, and it's the true self, the true God stuff, the eternal part of you that's going to live forever. Whatever's left in the box of the urn is not you. Whatever goes back to where it came from, that's you. And I believe that every soul has a beautiful, unique gift connected to it. And the whole game is to figure out what that is. What do you do effortlessly? What makes you come alive when you do it? Howard Thurman said, ask not what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and do that. Because the world needs people who have come alive. Is that not what we need in today's world? Man, I need to be around somebody that comes alive, and that's what he did for me, man. I came alive. I found my gift. I got on that stage. I sat down, and I was intoxicated. I was like, I don't know what that was, but I got to do that again. And those people that were in the audience that day, they said, I don't know what that was, but you got to do that again. And so it was confirmed, and I went on my run, and I started preaching, and the churches got bigger and bigger. And then they gave me more churches, and they got bigger. By the time I started at 25, by the time I was 35, I was in charge of about 5,000 people. And it was like I was living my dream. It's like everything. I found my purpose. I found my place in the world. I found out what I was good at, and I did it and just went ham. And I was like, yes. And I'd love to say, and here I am today. But that'd be a lie, because that's not how it worked out for me. Remember the wild guy that I was before I met him? Well, I thought he was gone. Turns out that joker was doing push-ups in the parking lot waiting for me to get back out there. So I went through some stuff, and I got to the point, now I'm about 40 at this point, and I just lost my heart. I mean, what you do is beautiful, but if you don't have a big why attached to it, the job's not enough. It's the purpose behind the job. It's the gift that's attached to the purpose. It's the people that are the fruit of your work. That's what gets you up early and keeps you up late. That's a job that you don't ever want to retire from. I don't want to retire ever. Spirit gets bored and gives up and wants to leave. Man, I love what I do. I'd love to give that to you. So I'd like to say that that's what I did. But you know what? Even a preacher, if you lose your purpose, and understand this, passion is born in purpose. You find your purpose, you'll find your passion. You don't got to be like me, the loudest guy in the room. Passion is a deep, deep internal thing. It drives you. It's a reason. It's a why. It's a motivation. It's a drive. Why? Because this is what I was born to do. You have that. You're in the right place, the right vehicle, the right industry. You're making a difference. If nobody's told you, I'm telling you. But you can't lose sight of why you've been put here, because let me tell you, I did. And it just got to be a job, bro. It's like they bring me people and I'd counsel them. You know what I'm saying? I would study with people. I would marriage counsel, and I would teach people how to raise their kids. And I'd get them all fired up on Sunday, run back into the fray. But I got bored. And when dudes get bored, they get stupid. And I went back to that guy, and I started messing around with that alcohol again, and that was my downfall. And so I went through a divorce and a public fall from grace. It was hard. I mean, I grew up in Atlanta. Atlanta's my town. I know a lot of people know me. And all of a sudden I was this powerful and popular preacher, and then I was the guy that's hanging out in bars and crashing cars. And that was 20 years ago. And I was at my moment, alone. 800 square foot apartment, drinking at night, stop the pain, and seeing my kids on the weekend. And I was the guy that taught people about marriage and child raising. And now I became the cautionary tale. And group this size, been through some storms. And if you're like, not me, I'm like, just give it a minute. And it ain't about you. It's this world we live in. It's this fallen world we live in. And the storms are gonna come. And the storms are not just gonna happen, they're imperative. Without the storms, I don't believe we get to where we need to be in life. If we do, we don't appreciate it. And so here I am at the bottom, man. I'm looking up and I'm like, what you want to do with me now? I was done. 20 years ago, I got sober, had my last drink. But then I was just this, kind of preacher without a pulpit. And it's not like there was want ads, wanted, drunken fallen preacher to leave. It's like, isn't it nice how we can laugh about it? It was like, what am I gonna do now? And I made a promise and it changed my life. And some of y'all, I didn't know we were doing church today. I respect your faith boundary. I think I'm probably staying within the bounds. I hope so. But whoever you happen to pray to and whatever you believe created all this, and this life force, this source, love, light, life, you don't have to call it God, just this presence, the divine. I spoke to that. And I said, if you ever let me preach again, I'll go to the ones that nobody wants to go to. And I don't even know where that came from. I named them: the hungry, the thirsty, the naked, the sick, the stranger, and the prisoner. Jesus called them the least of these. And I said, I'll do that, because I was this suburban preacher that had never got my hands dirty, really, to tell you the truth. And so I said, I'll do that. And then 3 years went by. What happens when what you want doesn't happen right away? He didn't give me what I wanted right away. I had to get in position to receive it. And 3 years later, I was invited to go to a prison. And luckily, I did not go like this. I went like this. And I went in to serve. And it changed my life forever. And I felt like when I walked through that gate, bam, everybody says how scary that thing is. I felt like he tapped me on the shoulder and said, you're home. This is where I want you. And so I just did it, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And more, I started having old brothers doing a lot of time who had sons and little brothers and grandsons and nephews out there. And they're like, what are you going to do for them so they don't come here? And I had to have an answer. So I backed up, and that's where I started meeting beautiful brothers like Marquez. And then I got into the schools like Osborne, in places where there are threats. We need answers. We've got to have solutions to what's going on in our society. It's the young people 20 years from now, get your head wrapped around, they are going to be leading us. You remember the ones? Entitled, Cupcakes, Up. Remember all them? Yeah, they're going to be running things. And so what do? And so Tony and I and some other people, we came up with this idea, and it was like, let's start with a dream so big, it's valuable enough to protect. That's the whole game. Without a dream, anything bright and shiny will get your attention, especially young folks. But all of a sudden you throw a dream out there and it's like, man, I want that. The game becomes quite simple. Let's protect it from things that are gonna threaten it. And so we picked bullying, which we call hanging with the haters. Irresponsible social media, and how you use that device, it can wreck a dream. Disrespect of authorities, that's become like a language to the young. Unhealthy relationships, drug and alcohol abuse, objectifying classmates, how we treat the other. And these are the things that can shipwreck a dream. So we started working around that. We started with the young athlete because they have the most influence, and we started to help them. They typically have some dreams. And then it got to the point where, and now if you guys want to come August the 10th, Osborne High School, come and see us graduate a whole group of young dream protectors. Now we commission them to walk through the hallways that you guys are designing and go into the spaces that have been intentionally created, and they're learning not just to protect their own dreams, but the dreams of their classmates. So when that brother who's got a lot of influence is at a party, and maybe there's a female and somebody's put a couple Xanax in her drink, which is a thing, and now all of a sudden she's gonna have a bad night and things are starting to happen and cameras are coming out, I need that brother to go and get her friends and say, hey, get her out of here, it's gonna be a bad night tonight. Or the young brother that's in the halls and he's weak and nobody's around him, he's all by himself and they're ridiculing him, making fun of him. I need one of my dream protectors to go and get in the way and say, hey man, come on little brother, he's my friend, y'all leave him alone. I need that guy. And we start bringing up this new generation of dream protectors, right? That's what we do, we protect the dreams of the young. Is that not what y'all do? They are similar, if not identical missions, as we're trying to set the young generation up. And now we've got all these beautiful kids that are coming up with needs that we didn't have, we didn't see as often. The rise of autism, I don't understand it. I hope we figure it out. It sounds like there's some people working on that real hard. ADHD, we didn't even know it was a thing back in the day. Now, I can't find a kid that either doesn't have it or think they have it. There's so many different diagnoses that the kids are learning to use them. They'll use them. Or self-harm is like that. Come down too heavy on them, I'm gonna hurt myself. It's become a thing and we don't know. Do you take it serious? You have to, but then again, it's like, it's complicated. We need imagination and intentionality, and they're not that hard to inspire. This is the power of a dream. So I was working, I'm getting ready to wrap. I was working in a tough school. It was like an alternative school type setting, kids that don't quite fit into the mainstream. And we were doing our Protect the Dream thing. We had all these kids, and this was the day they were gonna sign the pledge. And it's how they're gonna treat one another for the next 40 days. I'll seek first to understand. I'll find common ground with the other. I'll walk a mile before I judge. I'll practice active listening. I'll practice compassionate communication. When I'm wrong, I'll admit it, make it right, and I'll treat my enemy with respect, even if we disagree. There's fundamental things that we're trying to teach these kids, all based on Dr. King and some of those great principles. And all the kids are bouncing around, they get their t-shirts, they're signing the books, and it's a celebratory thing. And then all the kids leave, and there's one kid sitting in the back. And he's sitting back there, just been mean mugging me all day. Kind of like Quez tried to. And he waited till everybody was gone, and then he walked up. And he took his book, and he kind of just threw it down. He said, I ain't gonna do your program. And he started to walk out, but you know what he wanted me to do. What did he want me to do? Why do you wait? He could have been the first one out. He waited. He was the last one there. I'm not going to do your program. He's kind of making a statement and walking real slow. And I said, hey, young man, come here, bro. So he came back over there, and I said, what's the problem, man? Why you don't want to join us? He goes, no, I can't. So I'm a man of my word, and I've got a situation I got to deal with, so I can't do that. And I said, would you like to tell me about it? And he goes, I can. Do you want me to? And I said, he was wanting to talk to me, right? These kids, they're not so tough. And I said, what's up? And he said, well, I'm just going to keep it on. I'm not going to cap it. I sell drugs, and I got me a little crew. And I said, okay. I mean, you ain't going to scare me. And I said, so what's up? And he said, one of my guys got robbed, and I have to deal with it because I'm the only one that has a gun. He's telling me all this stuff. Is it true? I don't know. I'm just listening to him. I'm paying attention, showing him some love. And I said, so I wasn't shocked or anything. I said, all right, well, cool. You don't have to do the program. Here, I'll take my book back. And he's kind of looking at me. And I said, but before I do that, play a game with me, Justin. And he said, what kind of game? I said, it's an imagination game. He said, how you play? And I said, all you got to do is activate your imagination. Play a game with me. Now, imagination is a powerful, powerful gift that we have. My little dog, I got the coolest dog in the history of dogs. His name's Brave, and he is my dog. I mean, he's my guy. But you know what? He's amazing, but he doesn't have the ability to look forward into tomorrow. He remembers yesterday, and he's in the moment, but he's not like, what we got going on next week, boss? He doesn't do that. He can't do it. He's limited. His brain doesn't have the frontal lobe capacity to be able to imagine. And it's something that we do every day. It's not something I have to tell you. Use your imagination today. You're already doing it. You've been doing it all day. It's daydreaming while you're in the car. It's sitting there when you're supposed to be working and your brain goes off into another place. We're dreaming and we're imagining all day long. The question is, are you paying attention to it? What are you daydreaming about? If you're not careful, if you're not intentional, it's bad news and drama and fear and dread or looking into the back, regret and shame. It's just this whirlwind of thoughts, 50,000 thoughts in a day. Just some of y'all are going like this. You know what it feels like, right? We're imagining, but see, if you take that amazing God-given ability and you focus it on one thing for long enough and then give it life, and start to see it. That's what Dr. King did. He saw something that was so big. Nobody had had the idea before, and he saw it. And then he preached, and they killed him for it. That's how big his dream was. So I was acting Justin. I'm like, let's activate that, bro. And he's like, okay. I said, what do you want to be? And he goes, what do you mean, what do I want to be? I said, what's your dream? What do you want to be? And he goes, anything? And I said, anything. And he goes, music producer. And I'm like, you got it like that? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, so like little time or big time? He's like, big time. And I'm like, okay. I said, so where are you living? And he goes, now, Austell. I went, no, in the big dream. Like, tell you what, let's go ahead. Let's go 40 years into the future. You're 60 years old. He's like, what? I said, how long you want to live, bro? He said, 60. And I'm like, I'm feeling kind of bad. I'm like, well, I ain't got much time left. And he's like, 60. All right, 60. All right, so you're 60, okay? Where are you living? He goes, now? No, where are you living in your dream? He goes, anywhere? I said, anywhere. It's an imagination game, bro. And he goes, Miami. And I said, you ever been there? And he goes, no. And I said, it's a cool town. That's cool. I said, all right, so what is it you're doing again? Music. I'm like, okay, music. Big time, little time, big time. I said, what's your crib look like? He goes, now? I said, no, in the future, bro, in Miami. Where are you living? Is it a big gated community, high-rise condo? What it is? He went, high-rise. And I'm like, okay, all right. What are you driving? He goes, now? No, not now. I said, bro, what are you driving? He goes, Maybach. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but that sounds cool, right? That's kind of like Mercedes, Rolls Royce type thing, right? And so I'm like, okay, I see it, high rise. And I'm trying to get in his head. It's like, I want you to see it, bro. Try to imagine yourself. Just imagine the best possible, I'm telling you, the best version of you. I'm talking about wave your wand, anything is possible. You can do it, be it, have it. You got it. I don't care how old you are. The best, golden, perfect. If you're a husband, you're the best husband in the world. If you're a business person, man, you're the most successful. If you love the beach, bro, you got one right there. I mean, what can you see? I'm trying to activate this kid's imagination. They're not so hard to inspire. They're very impressionable. Just got to give them different impressions. Ask the right questions. Listen. So I said, where you at? Miami, music, high rise, Maybach. I said, what's your lady look like? He said, now? I said, no, bro. And he goes, fine Latino. That's what he said. Now, he happened to be a brother of more color than me. And I was like, oh, really? And I didn't want to go any further down that road. And I said, okay, how's that look? I said, y'all got kids? And he goes, man, we got grandkids. You see, he's in the game now. He sees it. And I'm like, all right, bro, so let me lay it out. So you're into music. So you say you got a little music gift. That's cool. Are you willing to pour gas on that flame? Bellows on it, start a fire, chase it, do what nobody else will do. Be a 1%er, one that's willing to pay the price. No, but you have to stop me to kill me. That's what I say about my work, man. I love it so much. The only way to stop me is kill me. And I guess Dr. King was like that. So maybe I could be like him. And that's what I'm trying to tell this kid. Are you willing to do it like that? Don't tell me you got a dream and you're not willing to pay the price. And so I said, will you do it? Can you do it? And he's like, he wants to say yes, but he doesn't believe it. And I'm like, all right, bro, you see that guy? He's got a wife. He got grandkids. Nice place, nice car, a profession. You've built a life for yourself. You see that guy? All right, now I want you to come all the way back. Let's come all the way back, 45 years. And now let's look at this little thing you just told me, this little drug deal gone bad thing that you got to figure out. I said, what do you think we got to do about that? And he goes, it's not that important, is it? I said, it's your call, bro. I said, let the old you advise the young you on what the move is that you should make. And that day he was wearing, pants sagging, big oversized t-shirt, hat kind of to the side, his eyes were blazed. And so he went, he said, give me that. He signed the book and he walked out. Next week I went back to the school and who comes bouncing up to me? It's Justin. I don't even recognize him, bro. He's got no hat on. He's got a nice shirt tucked in, nice pants, shoes. His eyes are bright and shiny. And I'm like, who are you? And he said, it's Justin. I went, Justin, what you been up to, man? He said, and I quote, I'm working on our business plan, bro. Just like that. It's the power of imagination. Passion, if you're lacking it, if you're into the old, same old, you're bored in life like me, man, he gave it all back and more. I couldn't have dreamed. I mean, I've got a wife that I am in love with. I love saying that after 20 years. He let me do it again. I've got kids I'm proud of, and I actually won their respect back. I got a job that I love so much you can't stop me. I got too many friends to hang out with, bro. It's like he's given me so much, and I messed it up so bad. And see, the truth is, I'm the broken branch. I fell from the sky. The storm brought me to my knees. And if somebody hadn't seen me for what I could be, there's no telling what I'd be doing out there. Or I wouldn't even be here to tell you the truth. But what I see here today is an organization that has a culture of care, that has a purpose that's bigger than yourselves, that has a team that genuinely cares. And I don't just get up and say this stuff because y'all brought me in to speak. I'm telling you what I've witnessed in that little boardroom, among those young people that are following your lead, all the way down to the woman who's managing the books, lady of faith, to every single person, all the way to the guy at the top, the lady at the top. Purpose, passion, imagination, intentionality, so that maybe this next generation, they're not the broken branches. Instead of saying irresponsible and cupcakes and entitled and soft, we say, no, they are the next generation, the potential, the ones that are going to carry the torch, take us where we need to be. You guys are designing the hallways they're going to walk through. And I have not overstated a thing. I believe this with all of my heart. And you might not like me much, but you know that I believe what I'm saying. I think you probably feel me. I want to thank you so much. And brother, thank you for referring me wherever you are. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. We love y'all. We're counting on y'all. No pressure. Thank you for having me. I love you.